Hello Enchanted ones, and welcome back. Join me today as I continue preparations and celebrate for Yule with simple ideas, rituals, protection wreaths, Yule logs, a trip to an apothecary, and some kitchen witchery where I make a cake that looks and tastes like it was blessed by a fairy. But first, sit back, relax, and join me today for a winter's walk within the Enchanted Woods. Good morning from the Enchanted Woods. It's a beautiful morning. The sky has opened up and it's blue. It's the morning, so all of the sun is shining through and there's some beautiful rays that have been casted onto the forest floor. It's just kind of glimmering and shiny and beautiful in winter, and it just makes me so happy. So I'm very excited to share that with you today. I'm also within the woods this morning as I'm going to be gathering some things to place within my basket, some things that stand out to me, whether that be the evergreens, the holly, or ferns, I don't know, because I'm going to be making my Yule wreath today. I'm also going to be making and decorating my Yule log too. So I just love to bring in things from the woods and just to honour those, and also so it gives my home protection during the winter months. But I'm already seeing some red popping through around here, so I can get some holly berries. That's my first priority. And also some fir. Just, I love the way it smells. I love its sap. It's like a air freshener for your home. And all of these things keep for such a long time without water, so I'm very thankful for that. So let's have a glorious morning together within the woods. The atmosphere today is that of winter. It's so quiet and peaceful, and the stillness is like music to my ears. It may be still and quiet, but we can still find abundance and magic during winter, and the holly berries are in abundance here. But not all holly has berries. It is only the female holly. To produce the berries, a male holly bush needs to be close by to be able to cross-pollinate when the female flowers. How amazing is that? I can see some heather down there, and I think the way that it grows is so whimsical. I'm going to grab some. Even though the flowers have passed, I love the way it still just looks really fresh and beautiful. Just kind of like a memory of the year. I want to put that on my wreath because I loved the heather this year. And new ideas brewing, things that have passed, I'm going to put them on the wreath too. So that means ferns too. I thought it also right to honour the wilted ferns, as Yule is about honouring past life as well as looking to the future. I love the contrast actually between the dead and the living. Love that so much. Okay, cool. Now I need to get some fur. I call this tree stump my mini fairy forest, as it has everything the woods has, but on such a small miniature fairy scale. Let me give you a tour of it, darlings. There's always chestnuts here because I feel like a squirrel uses it as their tabletops, and this time there is a chestnut with a slug inside, so maybe the slug sees it too. I'm just going to leave you there, sluggy. And we have loads of beautiful moss a carpet of moss, if you will, with clinging ivy attaching itself to it. Look at that, beautiful. And this little plant here, which I've never known what it is, the colours just light up my eyes. We have a mini fir tree here. It's so soft to the touch. Oh, it's a little bit spiky actually. It's getting stronger. And we also have a mini holly tree here too. I love it. So this is the woods on a mini scale, and this is it here on a grand scale. So sweet. Before I headed back home, I took a moment to appreciate the winter's woods as the sun poured in, and I thanked it for the items that I collected. And it's now become a ritual to thank it during winter, as it's a time I naturally reflect on the year and the seasons past. And I just do not know what my life would be like if I didn't find these woods. So I am forever grateful. There's one bird that I'm hearing the whole time, just one little birdie. And he's so calming. It's such a beautiful, warm winter's day. Oh, I've got everything I need. A mixture of green and brown, and now I'm going to head back and I'm going to make my wreath. Cup of tea, I think. Oh, yeah. This is how I know the winter solstice is near. There is light in the lounge, and that never happens. Oh my goodness. Oh, I need to make the most of this. Okay, now I need a cup of tea. Ah, what a lovely walk. I love the sun this time of year. I think that it's just perfect, every angle, every point of day. Such a warm day though, so I think I'm gonna have to take this jumper off. It doesn't feel like winter outside. It feels like it's going into spring. I don't know. Anyway, I have got a bunch of stuff from the woods. I'm very happy with what I found and my inspiration today. And I'm going to be making my wreath. Every other year, I usually decorate my pentacle wreath up here. But this year I thought it'd be nice as a decoration. So I wanted to make my own one, a new one. So we're going to just see what inspiration comes to us and see how we can demonstrate that on this. I have no ideas, so we'll see. But then also I want to decorate the Yule log too. But at the moment the Yule log has surrounding it some holly. And I picked this holly in the woods a couple of weeks ago, because I made with it some beautiful holly fairies. And that is my first DIY that I was very inspired to do this video, and it all started because I dug out my beautiful Bridget doll that I usually put up from bulk, and I thought, why not make a holly version of this sweet angel? And that's exactly what I did. So, it was my mission to create a holly fairy that was inspired by the Bridget doll. I wanted the dolly to govern the trees, protect the altar, and also I wanted to be able to weave some intentions into her for the new year ahead. So after a lot of pondering, this is what I came up with. And to create the basic shape of the holly fairy, you will need string. I am using natural twine because I love its simplicity. I wrap the string around a book 24 times, not too tightly, and then I cut the string at one end. It needs to be around an arm's length long. To make the fairy's head and hair, I tied a knot about a third from the top. The smooth side of the knot will be her face, and the string above will be her hair. To make her arms, I pulled 6 strands of string either side of the string below her head and then plaited them to arm's length, weaving intentions into the plaits as I went. Once the arms were long enough, I pulled them over her head and using one of the pieces of string, wrapped this around the arms, making them tied together. This will help your fairy hang, but also I feel the shape of her arms together represents the femininity of the moon and the darker half of the year. Underneath her arms, I added some more string that was bunched together, 24 pieces to be exact, and then took a piece of string from either side of the pre-existing structure and crossed this over the new string and her body a few times, front and back, and then tied them all together at the back. Then you will see in front of you that you have 3 large sections to plait, and this plait will form the holly fairy's torso. I then used one piece of string to tie around the base of the plait, and then tied it to another piece of string to secure it in place. Lastly, I tidied up the dress, and this is now the base of the holly fairy. And this next part is the most exciting step. I have made another holly fairy here, and as you can see, she is more subtle with decoration. I've used red and green string and a modest amount of cloves and holly berries. But this holly fairy will be a bit like me, meaning extra. So let me give you a few tips on how to make your holly fairy the symbol of Yule. I am using red and green string, as red is a symbol of the holly berries, new life, hope, and the sun returning, and green is the symbol of evergreens, luck, and health. And I'm tying them where it feels right and where it looks good. For her hair, I found that making a plaited headband helped it to stay put. But also I parted the string of her hair, and this made it thicker and more hair-like. I also pulled apart the string of her skirt to make it more fluffed up, and then I started adding and adorning things onto it using the glue gun. And of course some holly was needed to make her wings, as she's of course a fairy after all. Then I placed some holly within her skirt, and I started out quite simple, but then the more I added, the more I couldn't stop. The next moment I was adding nutshells and star anise, and you couldn't even see her skirt, but I loved it. And there she was, my holly fairy. I love the way she came out. She will be at my altar to protect it from any negativity this year, but when I look at her, I will see the intentions I've weaved into her for the forthcoming new year.
But as a contrast to her, I love how you can make such a simple holly fairy, and she looks just as good upon my tree.
So I've just put 5 sticks here. They are making my lovely pentagram, which with the circle makes it a pentacle, a very strong symbol of protection. This symbolizes the elements and the divine, so earth, air, fire, water, and the divine. So I'm going to hang it upon my door, and then it will not allow any negative energy to come in. So my next step with this is to just tie all of the sides together so nothing comes loose, and then I think I might also spray paint it gold, because that would be very me. And also gold is the colour and the symbol of the sun this time of year too. Beautiful, perfect, exactly the same. Now I'm going to start placing on this wreath some of my gatherings, and I've also got some wire, so I'm going to be intertwining them within the wreath, and then I'm going to be wrapping them with just some really thin wire too as I go, just so it's not going to fall out. So I made the holly fairies. I made a couple of them, 3 in fact. I thought as well as having them to honour your altar space, you could also give one as a gift. And I have a lovely friend who I knew would appreciate a holly fairy as a gift. I also wanted to give her a couple more gifts that were that way inclined too. And during Yule, there is nothing like the gift of health.
So I journeyed to my wonderful friend's new apothecary, where I was sure to find many things to help with health over the winter period.
Hi.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
And what can I do for you today?
So, I am after some tea, some loose tea to help with health over Yule and winter as some gifts. I was wondering if you could kind of recommend anything.
Okay, so something that's like Christmas inspired or Yule inspired. So we've got some cinnamon bark, that would be good. And echinacea is really good for the immune system.
Okay,
so
lovely.
That would be really good. Maybe some sage. Although that's kind of, if you're having that in tea, that's an unusual flavour in tea, so I guess
You might mix it with something
you might
else,
mix
or-
it with something else. We've also got gingery. At the moment, what seems to be popular is the ginger and the ashwagandha together,
Oh, okay.
which is really good for health as well.
Ooh, maybe I'll take some of that then.
Yeah, and the ginger just makes it taste really nice and warming.
Oh, okay. Oh,
See.
yeah, that sounds very Yule inspired. Love it. So I'll take ginger and what's the other one called?
Ashwagandha. I'll probably pronounce that wrong.
Astro.
So it's spelled ash.
That's what I heard. Loves it. Okay, cool. Thank you so much,
Do
darling.
you want it mixed in the same bag, or do you want it separate so you can mix it yourself?
No, we'll have it mixed in the same bag.
In the
I
same
think,
bag.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all right.
I also picked up a few extra bits I knew my friend would love, and it was such a cute little outing.
So now it is time to pack these gifts. Along with the tea, the ashwagandha gingerbread, I also picked up a couple of extra things for her too. One of them was a winter witch's brew, and this smelt heavenly. It has loads of different spices: black tea, cinnamon, orange pieces, lime leaves, blackberry leaves, cloves. It just is a really warming tea, so I hope she enjoys that. And along with that, something to put these teas into, so I got a little tea strainer here. And the reason why I thought this was very fitting for Yule in this time of year was because it had some black obsidian on the end of it. Obsidian is really great for repelling in negative energy, but also it's great because it is grounding, and a lot of the problems come from this time of year when we can't go outside, and a grounding stone and grounding earthy spices is what we need to help ourselves. I've also crafted and made a couple of things too, this being one of them. There's just something lovely about having something homemade, just something a little bit special, and along with things that are very healthy that I'm going to give my friend, I'm also going to give her something a little bit naughty. And this is something that I made a couple of days ago. It is mulled spiced sugar. So it's basically light brown sugar that I have adorned with cinnamon, cloves, nutmeg, cardamon, anything festive that I had in my cupboard, and then I mixed it all together. So super simple, but I poured love and happiness into it, so now there is just a little bit of a good intention now mixed into this sugar. And this is something that you can put a spoonful into a hot chocolate on top of a hot chocolate. When you have squirty cream, you can put it into some hot milk, or what I did today was put it into my cup of coffee, and now it's extremely festive and perfect. I'm going to place the sugar but also the tea in these little glasses that I bought because I thought they were so cute. They're kind of like an apothecary vibe, just some extra sweet little containers that she can have to put something else in afterwards, that extra little touch, so they're not just in a bag.
I love buying gifts, but what I love most is wrapping them. It's a therapy to me, and it's an art form. And this year I'm going that extra mile and stamping leaves onto my wrapping paper, because why not? I want this to be a piece of wrapping paper that someone would want to keep and treasure and to put in a frame. I also have bought a few scraps of festive fabric this year, which make an excellent cover to the holly fairy to stop her wings from pricking the fingers. But also it's just an extra little gift for those creative friends. And of course, I needed one piece of holly on top as a gesture of peace and goodwill. And now I had my first present to place underneath the tree. Back to the present day, and I started by placing a layer of fur onto the wreath.
Oh!
I then added one evergreen at a time, giving everything its own space and own moment onto the wreath by mirroring them on each side, and then continued wrapping with the wire.
Prickly! Prickly! Don't you prick me, Holly.
I placed the heather into the crevices and then wrapped around the ferns on the outskirts of the wreath to make a contrast and to make the most of the whimsical edges. And I just kept going and altering it until my perfectionism was happy.
Here we come away,
it was complete.
I love it. I think that is very creative, if I didn't say so myself, purely because I love the ferns and the old with the evergreens. Obviously I wanted to make something different from that one. I just can't open myself up to new things sometimes because what I've created is perfect in the first place. Very dramatic with the whimsical furs, and I am so excited about it. I woke up a little bit later than I thought I would today, but in winter, that's what I expect. My body needs to rest, so fair enough. I ran out of birdseed also, so there were these apples that weren't looking too good, that I've been meaning to use for a while, but instead I have fed some of the birds and squirrels in my garden, and I saw them there this morning. I was feeling really sorry for them, so now the squirrel is going to town on one of those apples, so I'm really happy to have fed them this afternoon. So this place right here is where I'm spending all of my mornings at the moment. This is my cozy nook. I love sitting here with a cup of tea, and I love just staring out the window. Looking out the window for 5 minutes every day is enough to help reset your nervous system and get in touch with that sympathetic side of you. So for 5 minutes every day, that's a really good thing that I love to practice. And there's just so much going on outside. It's just like a TV screen for nature. So I highly recommend that. I always feel very refreshed and rejuvenated after I do that every morning. It's a lovely way to start the day. Also, I do have another plan for today, because I have been reading my book, and I love reading here. It's one of my favourite places to read and just watch. And this is a cookery book, and it's by Nigella Lawson, my alter ego. And there is one particular cake that really stood out to me because, of course, I've made my wreath. I've talked about the symbolism of the circle and the pentacle. The wreath is a protection circle and it's a symbol of eternity. And there's one thing that she does love to make in this particular book, and that is a Bundt Cake. It's called a cider and 5-spice Bundt Cake, and she labels it to have tasted just like gingerbread. So I thought, wow, we've got the symbolism of the circle coming in. We've got this Bundt Cake that tastes like gingerbread, and I just feel like something is calling me to make this and decorate it in this really beautiful forest way. And I'm going to alter the recipe just a touch, so we'll see how it goes. And yes, let us begin.
It was a beautiful day, and it showed in the kitchen. I got everything ready, including greasing the Bundt tin, which, believe me, is extremely important. But there was one thing missing, and that was my fairies.
Come on. Fairies? Where are they?
I knew exactly where they were. A few weeks ago, I gave the home a Yule makeover, and I've just made it so nice for them that they don't want to leave. Thankfully, they decided to join me for some festive baking today. I started by measuring out the oil, the dark brown muscovado sugar, and this recipe actually calls for 1 cup of black treacle. However, from the experience I had, I can tell you that unless you like rich cakes, this is quite treacly. So I decided to alter the recipe the second time I made this by using half the amount of treacle and supplementing the other half with golden syrup and also the zest of an orange. This may seem like a lot of sugar, but it's Yule, darling, and the fairies love sweet things, remember. I cracked 3 large eggs and then removed the skin from a thumb-sized piece of ginger and grated this, all albeit thinking about my intention for this cake. As it was quite a sunny, symbolic cake, I wanted the intention to be of warmth and happiness over the holiday period. I wanted for whoever to have a piece of this cake to feel comforted and loved. And of course, due to the sugar, they would be very comforted indeed. I then measured out the dry ingredients in another bowl, which consisted of plain flour, baking powder, bicarbonate of soda, Chinese 5-spice, nutmeg, cinnamon, all the warmth one would need. And then I mixed both bowls together, repeating the incantation, "Let the warmth and merriment show. Let Yule bring the festive glow." And you will find the recipe plus many different ideas of recipes below. Wish me luck. Listen, if you do come out, I'll be really upset with you. What do you want me to say to you, matey? Whee! Okay. Oh wow, okay. It tastes good, and that's the main thing. Now you have joined me in the present day once more, as now it's time to finish everything off. You see, I had a guest coming over for tea today. So before I finished the Bundt Cake, I had to decorate my Yule log, and I used the same foliage that I used for the wreath in the same style, making the log look like it was on a bed of enchantment. For my candles this year, I have gone for a berry red, and I think it's such a festive and an elegant colour, and I couldn't resist these acorn candles, so they will live next to the Yule log this winter. Now it was time for a little change. Ta-da! Do you like it? Hey? What do you think? Hey. And to finish, the cake. I've also changed the recipe slightly, as now the cake will have orange icing, orange in flavour and in colour to symbolise the sun returning. I made the icing quite thick and dripped this very satisfyingly onto the cake. And I just couldn't resist these little golden furs. And on another day, I also made some candied orange peel, which was a little bit of a palaver to make, so the camera didn't come out that day, but I can assure you it was this that made the cake heavenly. So now my magical Bundt Cake was ready. I got a few more things together before I was joined by my lovely mum to celebrate together.
That's gorgeous. Wow. That's gorgeous.
Do you like
isn't
it?
Really lovely, yeah. Fabulous.
Do you think I did it? I don't know if I should have done it like a green,
No. No, not
like the
definitely
sun.
not green. No.
It is like the sun. What do you think?
No, green's not a nice colour, but that's beautiful.
Green is not a nice colour.
Not on that. Not on that with brown. No. No, that's lovely. And that goes nicely with the trees.
Okay, I already made a cup of tea too.
Pretty. I'm up with that.
Alright.
It's quite strong, black treacle.
But it tastes like gingerbread, so. I mean, if you feel like there's too much treacle in it, I can always,
Take some out.
take some out. Can you?
How are you going to do that? I'm so sorry for you. Fall down my lap. Thank you very much. This should be all chocolate log here. All chocolate.
That's from the forest, that's my Yule log.
Nice cake.
Thank you.
It's a nice texture, isn't it? It's sort of quite moist.
Yeah.
It's certainly not dry.
Oh no. Yeah, it's really wet batter actually.
I know.
Thank you so much for watching, Enchanted Ones. And thank you for your continued support on this channel. I cannot believe that we are now over 100,000 subscribers. So it is time to celebrate, and it just makes me so happy that you are here. And I cannot wait to share more of my creativity with you in the new year. Please let me know, what was your favourite below? Have a wonderful Yule, and I will see you in the new year. All my love, Alwyn.
Act like I said something funny, please.
No, that sounds a little bit not angelic, doesn't it?